Right then, lads and lasses, how we doing, and welcome back to the channel. Today we've got even more news on Newcastle United, as we do every single day. I love bringing you it, so let's get straight into it. The first one, of course, the very big one. The Premier League have voted against the rule to ban party-associated loan deals. Of course, the major one spurring this up was Ruben Neves of Al Hilal coming to Newcastle United on loan. That deal now doesn't look possible, as Ruben Neves, as we said in yesterday's video, doesn't want to come to the Premier League. He says he wants to stay put at Al Hilal. He's prized there. He's a very highly regarded player at Al Hilal. He likes his time. I mean, the money he's on, I don't really blame him. Of course, it's not a very well competitioned league, but he's got all the money in the world now, doesn't he? And that's all that matters to these players now. But of course, the big one being, it was 12-8 in favour of banning Newcastle United doing party loan deals, and that was going to be, of course, for the whole of the Premier League doing them deals. But Newcastle United are free to do whatever business they want with the Saudi Pro League and, more importantly, PIF owned clubs, which is, of course, our party owned clubs, Al Hilal being one of them, and a few more like Al Nassr. Also, a very this man has been linked with Newcastle United so many times over the past couple of months, maybe even year, even ever since we've had the takeover. Hugo Ekitike is no longer on Newcastle United's radar, even though being scouted extensively. We'll get on at that in just a second. And also, one that kind of really excites me, because I want him at Newcastle United, and we really need him at Newcastle United. Guirassy, the man who's on absolute fire for Stuttgart in the Bundesliga this season, and in all competitions as well. He's on absolute fire. We've already been through his stats recently. He is being scouted by Newcastle United scouts. I'm very excited about this. We need a striker. We'll get into that later on. But on to what we missed yesterday. Of course, the Saudi PIF loan deals. Let's get into it. Now, of course, with the loan deals, Newcastle United did kind of spark this up, as mentioned, with Ruben Neves. We were going to get him on loan. We need a midfielder right now, as we need a couple of players in a couple of positions. But Ruben Neves was the one that was always sort of spurred up for Newcastle United, and that is what spurred up this whole conversation about party-related loan deals. It was 12-8 in favour of the ban, so that meant 12 teams wanted the ban. They didn't want Newcastle United or any other clubs to have this upper hand, and 8 teams didn't want the ban. The 8 teams were, and I'm just going to have a look on my phone now, my vision's terrible. Anyways, Newcastle voted against the ban. Manchester City, Chelsea, Forest, Sheffield United, Wolves, Everton and Burnley all voted against the ban, so they all want to do party-associated loan deals. Of course, many teams in there do have a sort of partner club or associate club, if you do want to say that. The owner of their group owns 2 or even more, hence why they voted against it. Now look, what does this mean for Newcastle? Does this mean we're actually going to do some business from the Saudi Pro League? I mean, if we were going to vote against the ban, it does kind of hint that we are going to do something. But the main one, Ruben Neves, who everybody wants, he says yet again he wants to stay put at Al Hilal. The next day, he wants to come back to the Premier League. We don't know, anything could happen. We could go get Neymar, Kante, Benzema now. But for real, I think a couple of them players are injured anyways. But something's definitely going to happen with the Saudi Pro League, hence why that did get voted against. Fingers crossed something can get done. There is a couple of good players in that league who've come from abroad not long ago, so fingers crossed we can get something done there. Just needed to quickly touch up on that. But next, into Hugo Ekitike, the man who makes Newcastle United fans very angry, and rightly so. Let's get into him. Now, briefly on to Hugo Ekitike, who Joe Bland has just reported this morning saying that scouts have extensively scouted Hugo Ekitike, but they don't believe that he is first-team quality. For me, he's not first-team quality, is he? I mean, he went to PSG. He was meant to come to us a very long time ago when Edward Howe first took over the club, and of course the new regime first took over the club. He was someone I was looking forward to. I mean, I'd spoke about him a lot. He was a young lad. He was doing very well for Stade Rennes. And then, of course, he went to PSG. Kind of took the mick out Newcastle United fans. And I feel like some fans, if we went in for Hugo Ekitike, they'd feel like we've been taken for a mug. Which, look, if he's going to help on the pitch, is it worth holding a grudge against him if he's going to help on the pitch? But look, anyways, he's not expected to come here. The scouts don't believe that he's first team ready, and he's really not. He took the big move to PSG, which, he's a young lad. I wouldn't really blame him. He wanted to go to the best club in his country, and he's done that. He does look a bit arrogant though, and of course he put in his Instagram bio at one point, which is like a biography of his Instagram for everyone to see, with hundreds of thousands of followers, as he wasn't getting picked for PSG. He put in his biography, hashtag whatever his number was, but that's complete arrogance. We don't need somebody like that around the club. So in this sort of situation, it's probably for the benefit of Newcastle United. Is he a great player? He was at once. He hasn't really cracked on at PSG. But look, we don't need anyone like that at the club. On to another striker though, who yet again really excites me. We've talked about him a lot. He's got a £15 million release clause, and he's one of the most on-form strikers in the world. It's Guirassy, and scouts have been watching him. Let's take a look. So yes, on to Guirassy, who yet again is one of the most on-form strikers in the world. The 27-year-old started 8 games for Stuttgart in the Bundesliga this season. Guess how many goals he's got? 8 starts, 15 goals, nearly double the amount of starts to goals that he's got. Is it a purple patch? And of course, if there's one thing that's wrong with this deal, unfortunately, it's his nationality. Why may it be his nationality, you may ask Josh? He is, of course, of African origin. He plays for Mali or Guinea, I believe it is. I think it's Mali. And something what makes players miss a lot of games is, of course, undoubtedly, the CONCACAF, the African Cup of Nations, or the AFCON. Sorry, not the CONCACAF, the AFCON. He's going to miss a fair few games. We've seen players like Anana for Man United who's going to miss games. They've got quite a fair few players who is going to miss out of games. So do Chelsea, I believe it is. There's a couple more. I think Brighton's missing a few. Spurs is missing a few with Basuma. But if we are going to get Guirassy, it's not going to be a long-term job, is it? I mean, with a £15 million release clause, it's an absolute bargain for Newcastle United. And what I believe this sort of deal is, it actually resembles this perfectly. When we bought Chris Wooden, it's exactly that. It's a makeshift striker with, of course, Callum Wilson and Alexander Isak. 2 fantastic players, 2 fantastic strikers that just can't keep fit. We need a third one at the club, and striker for me is kind of the priority for Newcastle. I believe it is. You let me know what you think the priority is. Some people have said a young centre-back, a right wing, a left wing. For me, it's undoubtedly a striker. I mean, look, Alexander Isak's fit for Chelsea. It doesn't look like Callum Wilson is going to be. If Alexander Isak gets injured, we're going without a striker for a very long time. Of course, Callum Wilson's out for 6 weeks, but like I'm saying with Guirassy, he's a great striker, but it is going to be a Chris Wood job. We're going to have to get him in temporarily. He's not going to be here for 5-10 years, is he? But with a £15 million release clause, and I'm just going to keep saying that, because that much money, £15 million in today's day and market, could you even get a striker for that anyways? I mean, would we seriously be complaining if we needed to get a temporary striker for £15 million who scored 7 goals in the Belgian league? Would we be complaining? No, we'd be thinking, oh, we'll take a punt on this lad. So the only reason I wouldn't want to do the deal with Serhou Guirassy is because of the African Cup of Nations. When he actually misses them games, I do not know. I do not know when it starts. If I find out, I'll put in the comments. But what can't go wrong? I mean, 15 goals for £15 million of a release clause. It's an absolute bargain. Do we need a striker? Yes, he's there. I would get him every single day of the week. So there we have it. Would you take Serhou Guirassy at Newcastle United? For me, I genuinely think it's a no-brainer. I mean, it's not as if he's a bad striker and he's just tapping them in. I mean, they're from outside the box. The absolute finesses into the top corner. He's a great striker overall. Yet again, £15 million were paid more for Chris Wood, people. I don't know why we're not banking on this. I mean, is he a typical Newcastle United striker? Is he going to fit Eddie Howe's system? No, but we are kind of desperate. Desperate times call for desperate measures. Get Guirassy in £15 million. Not too shabby whatsoever. And one more thing I wanted to pick up on, which isn't really news, but of course, Bruno Joelinton played for Brazil last night. Bruno, half decent. Joelinton comes on as a substitute and he gets sent off for the most wrongful tackle I've seen in my life. If you've seen it on Twitter, if you haven't, just search up on YouTube or Twitter, Joelinton red card. DePaul is just pulling on his hand for about 5 minutes, right? Joelinton, he doesn't push him in the face. He doesn't elbow him. He doesn't do anything sly. He literally just pushes him off him and he gets sent off. I mean, it's absolutely unbelievable. I can't believe it. But there we have it. That is today's bit of news. And yet, of course, if there is anything absolutely massive that we've missed during the day, we will go live as we always do. Thank you very much for watching. The match preview for Chelsea will be out tomorrow, as always, 2 days or 3 days before. Depends on what sort of news there is. This, of course, with the PIF deals, it is quite big news, so we need to get this out. Thank you very much for watching. If you did enjoy today's video and you're enjoying the consistent uploads that I'm bringing you, which are going to be very consistent, hit the like button, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you never miss an upload. Thank you very much for watching. I've been Jody Josh. Go and enjoy your day, people.